Hello everybody, my name's Starraptor, and today I'm excited to talk to you guys about the Nintendo Switch. We had all the details released last night from Japan, everything from the release date, the price, the hardware specs, the games, and much, much more. But before I dig into that, I want to talk to you guys about my experience as a Nintendo fan, because lately I felt a little bit burned by Nintendo, mainly because the Wii U was the first system I hadn't really bought. They just didn't really fascinate me at all. It just didn't really seem like it was that much of a step up from the Wii. And also, the Wii was a system I had bought maybe 3 or 4 games and never really picked it up since. But I had my faith restored with this event that was last night, revealing everything about the Nintendo Switch. So let's get into it. I'm going to first start talking about the release date, and March 3rd is so close, guys. It's literally like, I think, 40 something days away. So it's not like, oh, this is a year in the future. This is literally a month and a half away. That is, to me, awesome. I'm just scrambling to get the money I need to buy this thing because I am sold on this. And let's continue talking. First off, the price is 300 bucks. Now that to me is a damn good competitive price for Nintendo. I think if they would have made it any more expensive, they would have left themselves in troubled territory, because the PS4 and the Xbox One, I believe, are hovering around their lesser models around $300. So a new system coming in at the price of $300, that to me is a pretty good thing. I mean, it could have been 250. Yeah, but I think with the technology that this thing harnesses, which I will get into in a second here, I think it's a fair price. Okay, so moving on to the hardware. First off, we're going to have to talk about the Joy-Con controller, okay? Because the Joy-Con controller, first off, that's a kick-ass name. I really like that name. It is the coolest controller name I ever heard. It just rolls right off the tongue real well. I really liked how this controller, and Nintendo kind of prefaced this by showing a montage of the controllers throughout the year that Nintendo has developed. So the NES, SNES, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, all those elements put into this controller through the 25 plus years of Nintendo to make this thing. And they even have a share button, so they do have other new evolutions put into this thing. So yes, Nintendo, and speaking on the share button, I think that's a great idea. They have a screenshot thing that's going to be at launch, and you're also going to be able to do video capture, so you'll be able to share your social media. That to me is a big step forward for Nintendo, because Nintendo in the past has been very particular with being able for people to stream their games online and stuff like that. Like, they've basically copyrighted that. You can't really do that online. So yes, it's nice. That's one step forward for Nintendo, but this system also has many other steps it takes to be relevant in this age of gaming. Okay, so the size of the controller actually surprised me. Now, I mean, I haven't had it in my hand, but from what I've seen on the live stream, was this thing actually looks kind of tiny, like little Joy-Con controllers. They look pretty tiny. I hope they're sturdy enough. I do like how there's multiple configurations for you to play. So basically, Nintendo Switch is the first system that is going to be able to be completely portable, but a home entertainment system at the same time. So you have that dock, you put the tablet-esque thing in there, and this also takes cartridges, mind you. It doesn't take this. This is kind of what I heard, like a 3DS kind of cartridge. So it is a different kind of step for Nintendo to take, but you could actually play this on your TV, obviously. You can have the tablet with you on the go, and when you do that, you can actually snap the Joy-Con onto the side. You could also have, there's a stand on the tablet part where you could put it on a tabletop. You could take those Joy-Con and you could have one in each hand, and you can give one to your friend and play it that way. You could also attach it to a controller, and you could attach them to this controller that actually charges them, which is really cool. And they have accessories, so they have like a Pro controller, a steering wheel controller. So mind you, there are a lot of ways to play with this game. It's really, really interesting. So the Joy-Con also has a sort of new iteration of the Rumble Pack. This is called HD Motion Rumble, I believe. And it is just a different way of feeling the way you are controlling, interacting with the environment. It's a very sensitive kind of rumble feature, so I can't wait to try that out. The screen itself for the Switch is multi-touch screens. So yes, we've been waiting for that answer, and it is awesome because all tablets now have that. So it's great, again, for Nintendo to stay relevant Now, the battery life is something that is a bit of a controversy right now. So the battery life has a bit of a span between 2.5 to 6 hours. Now, depending on what game you're playing, now the game Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is said to take up 3 hours, so that might have people a little bit perturbed, but it has a USB-C charging, so you could play it while you could charge while you're playing it. But every time you put it in a dock, obviously it's going to charge. So every time you leave the house with this thing, it's most likely going to be at full charge. So that's very good. The memory of the Nintendo Switch will be 32 gigabytes, but it does have expandable memory with the SD card, mini SD card slot. So getting into the nitty gritty of the graphics of this system, it has got a lot of potential. There are engines such as the Unreal Engine 4 that are actually being developed for this system. So yes, and it's run by an NVIDIA chip if I'm not mistaken. So it might not be as strong as the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, but I don't think Nintendo ever really wanted it to be that way. Just for the sake of this system alone, the controls, the portability, of course it's not going to be as powerful as them, but nonetheless it's going to look amazing on that 6.1 inch screen, I think it is. And I think it does have extra processing ability when you actually leave the screen in the dock, so me myself, I could see myself playing it more on the TV than anywhere else, so you're going to have that added boost of graphics, I'm pretty sure. Now, the multiplayer side of things was something I was very interested in because the Wii and the Wii U, to me, they had a really dumbed down version of online play. You couldn't really interact with your friends very easily. There was no voice chat. But it seems like all that is getting fixed in Nintendo's new multiplayer online component. You have online lobbies, you have friends lists, and it's all, the weird part is they say it's something about a smart app, so are you going to have to be on your phone and try to interact with two controllers? I don't know how that's going to work, but they did also put in there that they have voice chat. But this is the first time that Nintendo is actually going to offer a paid online service, so we know for paying for this thing, it's going to have better quality from the get-go, which I've been wanting to have for a long time. Plus, you get some cool perks like discounts on their store. You get a free game, which is either an NES or a SNES every month, but it's weird because it says only for a month, so does that mean you have to give the game back? But here's another really cool thing that which they'd even talk about. The SNES and the NES games you can get from that will be online multiplayer, so you can go back and play those classic games with people on the internet. That is so freaking cool. So that is going to wrap it up for my little talk about the hardware. Now let's move on to what matters the most, the games for the Nintendo Switch. So going on to the first party, first off they revealed to us this new game called 1-2 Switch. Now this game was very interesting because this game reminds me kind of what Wii Sports was for the Wii. This is going to be that game that gets people that aren't normally gamers to step up and try this thing out. So 1-2 Switch, they represented a bunch of different things you could do. Like they had the shootout, which at first I thought it was Red Dead Redemption on the Switch. I was like, oh man, from the trailer, and obviously it wasn't. But it's interesting because this game will actually get you away from looking at a screen, but actually looking at your opponent. So it has to deal with, I guess, sound and like, you know, fire. Then you have to lift up your gun thing and shoot the person or whatever you're playing. So that is really cool because Nintendo is always pushing the boundaries, and now they're actually taking the game out of the TV and putting it in your living room. So I could see this thing being very successful. I can't wait. Also, something I'm very excited about, I've actually just started watching the Nintendo Treehouse as I'm filming this, and they are showing off this new IP called ARMS, which is, it's going to use the Joy-Con in this position where you're holding them like you're going to box a guy, and you're literally punching like this. Really, really cool so far from what I've seen. Tons of different characters with tons of personality. Just like they had released on Wii with the Splatoon, which was a huge hit. I can see this game being a huge hit. There is like a rock, paper, scissors aspect to this game. It's a fighting game, so you have blocking, you have grabbing, you can throw punches, and you can use the environment as like trampolines. Each fighter has different configurations for different kind of arms you could pick, which have different advantages. So this game, to me, I think this has potential to be like an e-sport, kind of like a Super Smash Brothers game. I really can't wait to get my hands on this thing. Something that had me so hyped that I was really, really hoping we would get is a new Super Mario game. Not just like a little 2D game, but a full-fledged Mario game, and we got that. We got the sandbox game that I was looking for a long time. This is basically Mario 64, but in the new age. And what really stood out to me was Super Mario in New York City with cars, bouncing off cars, and actually interacting with people, which was kind of cool, and like, you know, just like wall jumping between buildings. This thing looked awesome, but it wasn't just New York City. They had a bunch of environments that were just really zany, what you could expect from Super Mario. Now, I don't even remember the last time I played a Super Mario game, guys. I haven't played Galaxies or Galaxies 2. I have the Wii, but I just never bought them. So, this game is basically going to sell part of the system for me. Like, I want to play this game so badly. Okay, so I can't talk about the Nintendo Switch without talking about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, guys. So, I was waiting patiently all throughout the presentation, you know, thinking about, when are we going to see Zelda? When are we going to see Zelda? And then, right at the end, when we thought they were just going to wrap things up, they show us the trailer, and I just went crazy. Like, my hype level went super high. It really hit me in the feels, guys. Like, I watched that trailer, the sound, the music, the way they weaved story elements in this trailer, which we haven't really seen any kind of story elements or presentations about this game at all. It's all been gameplay. It just hit me hard. And then, of course, March 3rd, the same date as the date the system goes on sale. This is a launch title, which is a brilliant move by Nintendo, because go on any gaming website right now, and this is the most anticipated game of 2017. So if you want to play this game, you're going to have to buy a Nintendo Switch. Okay, maybe not quite that way. If you have a Wii U, you can still play it on the same date it comes out. But regardless of that, people, myself included, are buying this system pretty much to play this game. I just can't freaking wait. And just to note on the first party games, I like how there is spacing. So, you know, not every game is coming out at launch, so it gives us something to expect. ARMS isn't going to be out at launch, I don't think. Splatoon isn't going to be out at launch. The Mario game's coming out in the summer, I think, so it gives us something to look forward to. But that isn't to say that they don't have a bunch of other games. Now, the games I'm going to talk about now are from third-party publishers, so we got publisher support from EA, Ubisoft, Activision, Bethesda, Square Enix, just to name a few. We got games coming out like Skyrim, Steep, we got Rayman Legends. Like there's a lot of really good games, and this is huge for Nintendo, because I think that's what killed the Wii U, in my opinion, was they just didn't have the support of the third-party publishers. And when that happens, you're only putting out your first-party games, and you know you don't have that many, so you're putting out 3 or 4 main Wii U titles a year. That's not going to cut it. So the third-party developers will be able to push out games more consistently for people to stay play on the Nintendo Switch. So yes, that is a damn good idea. Now, my favorite games, of course, I'm going to just finish this up, guys. So first party, of course, Zelda, Super Mario Odyssey, ARMS, Splatoon, Mario Kart 8, which wasn't even announced, it's coming out in April, and then 1-2 Switcher games, all I want to buy first party. Third party, Skyrim, Steep, Rayman Legends, you got me sold on that. I'm sure there's plenty of other games I don't really know about right now, but there's news constantly coming out. This is the day after this was revealed, so the stuff's coming out. My main question for Nintendo is, how is the digital marketplace going to be for this system? I want to know if I can buy Wii U titles, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I didn't buy Wii U, but there's still so many games I want to play on the Wii U, but I just didn't feel the justification of spending the money to play maybe 3 or 4 games. So I really want to see that backwards compatibility through the digital store, and maybe even other systems. I know we could play SNES and NES games, so come on, Nintendo, let's make that happen. So wrapping up, my thoughts on the entire presentation was, damn, was I hyped, guys. Like, I went to bed last night, and I was rolling around in my bed for a few minutes, just, the hype was just emanating off of me, and I'm like, rolling around like, oh, am I gonna buy this thing? Am I gonna buy this thing? Like, I want to go out and pre-order this thing right now. Seriously, like, I haven't been this hyped about a system in a long time. There's just so much potential. The presentation was okay. You know, it was dubbed in English, so there were parts that were a little shaky, and some of the Japanese developers trying to do some crazy things to get people to really, like, pay attention, I guess, which is, some of it just fell flat. I'm like, okay, let's just show the game, guys. Not try to be funny now. So that is going to do it for my reaction to Nintendo Switch. I want to know what you guys think. Are you guys going to buy the Nintendo Switch on day one? Are you thinking about waiting? What games are you looking forward to? Let's talk about it in that comment section below. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm Starraptor, and bye-bye. So, did you like the video? Then make sure you rate it a thumbs up, and if you did that, go over there, hit that Starraptor head to subscribe to my channel. Doing so will keep you up to speed on all of my latest content. Speaking of which, you can see a couple of my recent uploads down below. I'm also on social media, so what are you waiting for? Let's start nerding out.